next speaker is somebody who a lot of people dread, somebody who brings a particular skill set to bear. He is the head of the Central Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Ranjit Sinha. Please welcome Mr. Ranjit Sinha, CBI Director. If everybody could settle down, then we could start what promises to be an enthralling session. The one image of Mr. Ranjit Sinha, which will be forever etched in my mind, is from the day last May when he was asked to respond to the Supreme Court's remark that the CBI was like a caged parrot and spoke in its master's voice. He was at the airport when a TV journalist asked him the question. His response was typically Ranjit Sinha's. Whatever the Supreme Court has said must be right, he replied, without looking at the journalist as he pushed away the mic. Wearing a blue T-shirt which showed off his strong build and exuding power, Mr. Sinha at that moment resembled more a dabang cop than a caged parrot. He has not belied that impression in the working of India's premier investigating agency. Since being appointed CBI Director, he has proved to be a no-nonsense man. The investigations into the coal block allocations, in which he has spared none, or the controversial Ishrat Jahan case, where he took on the Intelligence Bureau, has done much to refute the allegation that the CBI is actually the Congress Bureau of Investigation. He speaks his mind, unperturbed, that forcefully stating the truth might be uncomfortable to the establishment. Perhaps being a dabang cop, as some of us personally know, helps if you have to deal with sensitive cases. Mr. Sinha, a Bihar cadre IPS officer with degrees in science and public administration, is one of the most outstanding IPS officers who has been awarded several times, including the President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service in 1997 for outstanding service. Today, he will speak on the unfettering of the premier investigating agency, and this is most timely given that the CBI is celebrating its Golden Jubilee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ranjit Sinha.
Thank you, Sandeep, for a very effusive introduction. I don't know whether I deserved it or not, but anyway, thanks for the same. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great privilege and pleasure to be here today before this august and knowledgeable gathering. I am grateful to Sri Arun Puri and India Today Group for inviting me to speak at this significant annual congregation of intellectuals where opinions, ideas, and insights are exchanged on a plethora of issues. The theme of this year's conclave, winning, is undoubtedly stimulating and relevant in the present context, when no one wants to fall short of success, and that too with the speed of light. As a matter of fact, winning is a natural yearning for any human being, and mankind we always endeavored to win in every walk of life. Societal and cultural norms also entail that such efforts are made in a manner that is lawful, socially endorsable, and in synergy with the social good. Individual success has to merge with social goods for the success to be socially acknowledged. When individual desires are premised on a myopic and selfish edifice, such cardinal principles are often lost sight of. Moreover, after toiling ceaselessly for triumph in our respective missions, we ought to have courage to acknowledge and accept our failures with poise and dignity. Our holy scriptures also teach us to accept winning as well as losing with equanimity and grace. Same principles and ethics are applicable to the organization as well, while these are pursuing their objectives or goals. Every organization is established or functions on the foundation of certain core values. No organization should try to excel or win at the cost of such core values. We all are aware that during the last 2 decades, the CBI has acquired only one of its kind status. Through all ups and downs, accolades and brickbats during last many years, CBI has never compromised from its principles and core values. What are these core values? To put it briefly, the core value of the CBI is to do at all times what is morally correct and legally tenable. Every individual in the CBI should believe and practice in this in every endeavor and be assured that the organization shall applaud him for standing up to uphold the law and the rule of law. The CBI is manned by officers drawn from across the country, selected through a vigorous process that is minutely scrutinizes their suitability, integrity, and professional competence. A dynamic and pragmatic internal vigilance entails that the freedom to express one's opinion in the CBI is put into effect in a judicious and professional manner. I may highlight here that every CBI investigation is placed and critically tested before court of law, and our consistent conviction rate of more than 67% is a fair testimony to the superiority of our investigation and prosecution work. I may inform that in the case a court makes any adverse comments about the quality of investigation or conduct of investigating officer, the same is taken extremely seriously in the CBI, and such matters are painstakingly examined for appropriate action against erring or negligent CBI officers. This is one of the best ways to ensure institutional integrity so that the organization can be insulated from political manipulations. The primary expectation from any investigating agency is that it would conduct investigation in a free, impartial, expeditious, and complete manner. It has also to ensure that no accused may feel that he is above the law, and at the same time, every innocent has the confidence that he will be protected from any unjust and unfair proceedings. It is a matter of profound satisfaction for the CBI that our last more than 50 years, it has been able to earn persistent trust and confidence of courts, media, and public at large. As we all know, today's situation is that in any important matter or scam from the remotest part of the country, there is growing demand from all quarters to refer the matter to the CBI for an in-depth and fair investigation. It is also a matter of record that the investigations of numerous complicated cases and scams have, at times, ensured CBI taking a stand which has been against prevailing public opinion and against those in position of authority. Such a reputation of CBI has been built over the years due to the outstanding professional work of the faceless CBI officers, coupled with the very environment in which these officers have been allowed to work. Present CBI officers, including me, are overwhelmingly indebted to our illustrious predecessors who, by their unrelenting efforts and meticulousness, turned the organization into a premier investigation agency and prosecuting agency of the country. I feel immense pride to affirm before this august gathering that Bureau's core competence is that it collectively exemplifies and symbolizes the egalitarian spirit that wherever its officers disagree, they nevertheless uphold the right of other persons to disagree with them. Here an officer is free to express his views and support it with law points and facts that may have been collected during the course of investigation. Indeed, it is this environment that acts as pivotal and nurtures professionalism in the organization and places us a notch above the rest of the investigating agencies. In the present context, there is an urgent need to further underpin these ethos in the CBI and also to take steps to instill similar standards and work culture in other investigating agencies so that in tandem they can fight the menace of corruption that has engulfed the entire country today. In the context of political monitoring of the CBI, I would like to say that during the recent issue of grant of functional autonomy to the CBI, an impression was sought to be created that the CBI wanted to wriggle out of control and supervision of the government. I may once again clarify here that it was never the intention of the CBI to take itself out of the purview of the executive control, as provided in the statute. Sole purpose of the CBI in seeking powers beyond what had been granted to it was to ensure more professional, efficient, expeditious, and impartial conduct of CBI investigation in sync with its famous motto, integrity, impartiality, and industry. There were many instances where lack of adequate administrative and financial powers had resulted in inordinate and avoidable delays in the CBI inquiry and investigations. In this context, I would like to emphasize that submissions for a genuine operational autonomy of the CBI were based on the premises of organization having sufficient financial and administrative strength to ride over the routine obstacles that may come in the way of its day-to-day functioning. The government has been very magnanimous in enhancing such powers of Director CBI recently, and I am sure that it would go a long way in enhancing the capabilities and efficacy of the agency. There is no gainsaying the fact that the autonomy and accountability are the two facets of the same coin. Functional autonomy is a prerequisite for an investigating agency to be able to discharge its constitutional and legal responsibility in a fair, just, and inclusive manner. At the same time, being accountable to the law of the land and to our Constitution through instruments that respect the independence of the investigation is equally important. I may mention here that I would be the last person to campaign for authority without accountability. And everyone in the CBI is also absolutely conscious that our operational freedom is intrinsically coupled with greater responsibility and accountability. So far as political interference in the CBI investigation is concerned, I may tell you that these are basically interventions, and it enables us to have a pragmatic and complete view of the matter under investigation. It also depends upon the individual or the organization and as how such interventions are taken. Listening to all concerned, including accused or suspects, is always in the interest of organization, and it is, in fact, one of the cardinal principles of natural justice. I would also like to add here that while every effort is made by the CBI to uphold the integrity of the institution, it is also incumbent on others to enable us to uphold such values. Recent policies of the CBI have sought to remake the organization as a significantly efficacious and efficient anti-corruption investigating agency in the country. CBI has also tried to upgrade itself for the needs and demands of a new and vibrant India. We have sought to make the functioning of the organization a meaningful one by addressing the specific needs of the various branches, including the non-investigation ones in the CBI. We have signed a number of MOUs with various institutions within and outside the country to further upgrade our technical and legal skills. CBI has also opened its door to non-police officers for joining on deputation at various ranks so as to make the agency a truly multidisciplinary and also to bring in variety of experience within the organization. We have started playing a proactive role in the enactment of the important and pertinent legislations like Lokpal Act 2013, Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013, and the Companies Act 2013, etc. In order to significantly contribute in the serious area of human trafficking and crime against women and children, we have started anti-human trafficking units in the CBI, and one branch has been designated as nodal branch for crime against women and children. To ensure institutional integrity in the CBI, I have personally ensured that no one in the organization should think him or her as indispensable, and I have also been following the policy of either perform or perish in this regard. I have also been delineating the policy of not trying to please everyone or anyone in our investigating and prosecution work. As director, I have also constantly been conscious of the fact that in the ultimate analysis, responsibility for all errors made by the officers and the staff of the CBI rests with me. We have to learn and adapt ourselves in capitalizing the opportunities that come in our way. It is heartening to see that the masses, media, and even the honorable courts have been consistently showing confidence in our work, and many of our works have been greatly appreciated by the one and all. Occasionally, CBI has been accused of doing all possible wrong things, that is, from favoring accused to towing the lines of our political masters. However, I can assure you on behalf of the organization that we work in a professional and fair manner. Each of our officers has full freedom to express his views, and such views are duly considered by the senior officers. With such internal consultation, we formulate a final view in any case, and in that may at times is not to the liking of the people or even complimentary. But as I said, we are governed only by the laws as provided in the statute. CBI is committed to ensure propriety and human dignity by practicing scientific and painstaking questioning and interrogation rather than resorting to shortcuts. We remain within the law while interrogating accused or eliciting information from the witnesses, since means are as important as ends. Such policies, which are in consonance with the statute and the directions of the Apex Code, have always brought to the forefront our collective conscience, besides readily providing us a leverage to unravel conspiracies during our pursuit for truth. I can also humbly assert that our officers and their work are neither swayed by the scathing criticisms nor by the rare effusive kudos from such media masses. On the issue of fixed tenure of the institutional heads as a way to deflect political pressure, I would say that it is indeed a welcome step and one of the ways to insulate the institution from any outside interference. When an incumbent knows that his term is fixed for a particular duration, he can have some planning and vision besides being free to take decisions that may not be to the liking of everyone. It is on record that the post of DCBI was the first to have been given a fixed term of 2 years in pursuance of the directions of the Apex Court to ensure continuity in the CBI investigations. Since then, there has been a number of changes in the functioning of the organization. As a matter of fact, the relevant amendment in the DSP Act provides that Director CBI shall continue to hold office for a period not less than 2 years from the date on which he assumes office. In this regard, I would further say that experience over the years has shown that investigation of any important cases takes more than 2 years in finalization. Further, any plan or policy to improve the efficacy of the organization also entails a period of more than 2 years for a director to enable him to ensure that such plan and policies are properly implemented. I would like to sum up my talk with the message that there is an urgent need for the investigating agency, including the CBI, to focus on providing fair, timely, and complete investigations so as to curb and effectively tackle the menace of corruption, which has spread like a virulent epidemic, as well as other crimes in the country. We also need to be extra sensitive and exhibit deft handling in dealing with the crimes against women and children. I am sure that the deliberations in this conclave will conclude to be contribute to a more educated debate on all the relevant and important issues in the present context. With these words, I once again express my deep gratitude for inviting me here, and I wish this conclave every success. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू सो मच सिन्हा साहब. आइए. ऐसा मौका मेरे को बार बार नहीं मिलेगा कि आपके साथ सवाल जवाब मैं पब्लिकली कर सकता हूं. बताइए, आप नॉर्थ ब्लॉक में यू ऑल्सो हैव एन ऑफिस, जस्ट एज यू हैव अ ऑफिस इन द सीबीआई हेडक्वार्टर्स, तो कहीं ना कहीं कभी ना कभी प्रेशर तो आता होगा. सरकार का प्रेशर.
As I have told you in the speech that I just delivered, that I don't think that if anybody asks me to do certain things or to look into certain aspects, that amounts to interference in investigation. In fact, it gives me the other person's point of view, and it helps you in arriving at a decision.
The last director and जो उनका tenure था, we saw lots of high-profile cases being investigated. We saw lots of people going to jail, even though there was no trial in place. That seems to have reversed under your tenure. Is that a conscious decision, or is that deliberate? How does that work?
It would not be proper for me to comment on the performance of my predecessors. But so far as the functioning of the CBI goes, the arrest is done only after we are fully convinced about the complicity of the person in a crime. Arrest is not the normal practice in the CBI. As you know, in the local police, the first thing that they do is to arrest the person after lodging the FIR. Here in the CBI, the arrest is done only when it is legally required and it is in the interest of investigation.
There's a lot of pressure on cases in the sense that there'll be a small murder somewhere and the CBI will be called in. Does the CBI truly have the wherewithal and expertise presently to deal with all these cases? Because for most part you have now become, or at least you're being seen and viewed as an anti-corruption body.
It is very unfortunate for the Indian police that people have lost faith in the state police, and there used to be a specialized cell called the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, which would investigate all the complicated cases which would occur within the state's jurisdiction. Unfortunately, my experience has been that, in the years gone by, the state police has lost the credibility. Maybe the infrastructural facilities are also not there. And there has been a growing demand of the public and legislatures, and also, the orders from the constitutional courts to the CBI to take over investigation. As you have rightly said, it is not possible for us to take over those cases, and some of these cases are of such nature that the state police are fully competent to deal with these cases. So I think in not more than 40% of the requests that come to us, we really exceed to the demands for taking over.
My colleague Rahul Kawal has a question for you.
The Central Bureau of Investigation is often called the Congress Bureau of Investigation, and the reason that happens is because each time the UPA was in trouble with its allies, we always saw one of its strongest allies, the CBI, come to its rescue by lodging some case against the ally who was acting truant at that particular time, or some movement in that case which would put that ally under pressure. And subsequently, when things got okay with Mulayam or with Mayawati, the CBI, again as a very strong and firm ally, would always come to the aid of the UPA by either withdrawing those cases or diluting them, so much so that even the Supreme Court raised these questions. Why does this happen, sir?
I think it is more a question of perception rather than a reality. All the cases that you have referred to, they were old cases in which there were the Supreme Court's directives from time to time, and we have always gone by the directives that have been given to us. Maybe the timing may have something to do with the political developments, but I can assure you, we in no way played to help the political party in power or anything like that.
The Ishrat Jahan case is now considered a landmark case because it does not have a precedence in that you took on a rival intelligence agency and you decided to go ahead and name those people from the Intelligence Bureau in the charge sheet. How difficult was that decision as far as you're concerned?
To begin with, let me first clarify that Intelligence Bureau is our sister organization. We have our colleagues working there with whom we have very intimate social and professional relationship, and it was never the intention of the CBI to go after the Intelligence Bureau. As you know, the Ishrat Jahan case was given to us on the orders of the Gujarat High Court, and before it came to us, it was looked into by a SIT, by the local police and everybody, and they had almost reached a conclusion that the encounter was fake. There was no doubt about that. And most of the accused were already in jail before we took over. But we took over investigation on the orders of the Honorable Gujarat High Court, and we concluded it, we filed the charge sheet. But the other aspect that the court asked us to look into was the conspiracy part. And as you know, as Intelligence Bureau plays a very important role in anti-terrorist activities. So they had a role to play. And since it was the orders of the Honorable High Court, we had to look into certain aspects in which the involvement of the Intelligence Bureau officers came. We took all assistance from them. The Intelligence Bureau was also forthcoming, despite the constraints of their operational framework. But even then, we got the information, and we finally able to file the charge sheet, provided the Ministry of Home Affairs gives the prosecution sanction.
How easy is it now to investigate, given the fact that the judiciary is constantly monitoring your progress as far as probes go? Does it unfetter you in any way? Does it give you greater independence?
I think the very fact that the judiciary has thought it proper to monitor our investigation says something about our action, our performance that is probably not up to their standard. And that's why it is required. And whenever this order comes that there should be a court monitoring of the cases, it does reflect upon our performance, that there is some gap somewhere, there is some deficit, there is some trust deficit somewhere. So it is something which we should try to get rid of. But in any case, it is a fact that when it is a court-monitored case, we feel very confident, and then we also do our work in a more painstaking manner because the court reviews your work, we have to file status reports and things like that. But it is good. It is good that we have the legal cover of the judiciary.
In the same Ishrat Jahan case, there was a huge hue and cry, lots of speculation that a prominent politician will also be charge-sheeted.
As I said, there are always, perceptions, people think. We also hear, we also were given all sorts of, inputs. But as you will agree, we have to go by the evidence that we have. You may have, some feeling that maybe somebody knew about it or he had the idea about it. But after all, I can't invent evidence. You have to pick up evidence from here and there to the best of your ability. And then finally assess whether it is fit for filing a charge sheet or not, whether the evidence has the quality to be prosecuted. And we did exactly the same thing. The issue was also raised that whether they were terrorists or not. The point is that they were human beings and they were killed in this country. And we had to take action according to the provisions of the Indian Penal Code. There is no exception for somebody who is labeled as a terrorist. So that is what we did.
Mr. Sinha has displayed rare candor. We are just able to take one last question. We can take one question. Please make it short. And please be very short in your question. You can go ahead and ask your question.
The conversation is with the Intelligence Bureau of Tamil Nadu with the accused who is collecting money and who is depositing into the account of where they got the money from. Why still you have not arrested the Intelligence Bureau of Tamil Nadu still? That's another question. Is it very easy to...
Just one question.
Is it very easy to record phone conversations, and especially, in the case of the investigation is happening?
Regarding the first question, as you know, we have already filed charge sheet in the 2G cases, and the matter is under trial. The tape-recorded conversation about which you referred to, we have also heard about it, but we haven't received any copy, and we do not know whether they are relevant to our investigation or not. Regarding your query regarding telephone interceptions, as you know, under the Indian Telegraph Act, certain procedure is to be followed, and we have to take the approval of the Ministry of Home Affairs before we resort to telephone tapping.
I have a question for you.
Okay, Sandeep.
Sandeep from India Today. Was there pressure on you to charge sheet Amit Shah in the Ishrat Jahan encounter case? You said so yourself in an interview once.
I don't remember to have said so anyway. But anyway, I can tell you there was no pressure whatsoever upon me on implicating people in that particular
But
case.
you've been quoted in a newspaper interview saying that there was pressure on you.
The problem is that you don't publish the denials. That's the whole point.
We'd like to thank Mr. Ranjit Sinha for coming here, for speaking at the India Today Conclave, and displaying rare candor for a CBI director. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. We'd like to make this session more interactive. We'd like to engage with this august house. But before we do that, once again, let me familiarize our audience with this voting meter, which most of you have with you right now. Do switch it on. Right on top, you have the button on. If you can see right on top, press that button along with right at the bottom left, there will be a function button. Press them both together and your voting meters will be on. We'll give you a few seconds to do that. Once again, let me explain how this works. Press right on top. There are 4 buttons there. There's a button which says on. Press that alongside do press function, which is on the bottom left. You have switched your voting meters on. Then you'd be given all these options, A, B, C, D, E. We're going to give you 4 options in this particular question. Exercise that option, but do not forget to press OK, which is right on your right-hand side extreme button. We'll give you 5 seconds. All right. If all of you have switched on your voting meters, I'd like to take you through the question we are putting forth in this session. How would you describe the CBI? A caged parrot. B, wounded lion. C, a smart fox. D, a raging bull. So do exercise your options. You have A, B, C, D. You have 4 options. Press whichever one you choose. Nobody'd know. And do press OK, which is right on top on your right-hand side of this voting meter. We'll give you a few seconds to do that. Once again, I'd like to repeat the question we are putting out to this august House. How would you describe the CBI? A caged parrot. B, wounded lion. C, smart fox. D, a raging bull. Just a few seconds, we are going to tabulate the results, and they'll be right there on the screens in just a few seconds from now. I hope all of you have been able to switch on your voting meters to exercise your option. Just a few seconds and we'll get the results.
He wants to know the answer.
Just a few seconds, sir.
He's betting on A, but I'm saying B.
Well, we'll know. Well, I guess, Mr. Sinha, you're right. It was a caged parrot. Would you want to comment on that, sir? You were betting, you were hinging your bets on A. All right, thank you, thank you. Mr. Ranjit, thank you, Mr. Ranjit. And I'd like you to stay on stage, sir, as I call upon Mr. Alok Bhardwaj.
Slight interruption. Apart from these things, I would like to inform the audience that we were not only called caged parrot, we were also called vultures while we were investigating the Isra Jahan case. And then unbridled horse when we were asking for autonomy. So we really lost our identity in the animal kingdom.
A big round of applause for Mr. Ranjit Sinha. I'd like to call upon stage Mr. Alok Bhardwaj from Canon to present a small token of our appreciation to Mr. Sinha. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please put our hands together? Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for that honest session. Appreciate it. Thank you.